So guys, I thought I'd take you on my journey a little bit. I am officially filling out the financial aid form, or I'm about to, because I've been talking about how I've been meeting with a career counselor. I had my second follow-up the other day, and I came across a lot of things that are like potential careers. I can go over that a little bit later. I gotta get focused on this, but I thought I'd vlog it because it's a big deal for me. I hate filling out forms like this. Like, it's so bad for my anxiety. So I'm like trying to like center myself a little bit. Thankfully, my counselor said if I really do have trouble, to save the form where I'm at, and then her and I can have like a meeting, and I'll share my screen and she'll help me too. So I have that as well, but I am kind of stressed out. I know, I just gotta do it though. I just gotta do it. I did it, guys. It was so much easier than I thought it was gonna be. I think it's because I've gone through unemployment at this point. And last time I tried to do financial aid, it was a long time ago. Let me continue my story. I was interrupted at the moment, so I stopped the video. But yeah, last time I did financial aid, it was a long time ago. It was before I was 26, which I guess up until you're about 25, they require at least one parent to do it too. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I am still depending on my own self at this point. Like, yes, I was living with my mom at the time, and now I'm living with my dad. But my counselor mentioned that apparently once you're past age 26, they don't ask for that information. So honestly, that was one of the biggest reasons why I didn't feel like I didn't go through with it. Like, I finished it, then I was denied, and then I was like, I'm never doing that again, because that's me and my anxiety. Ding! Okay. But yeah, and so I just did it, and I can say nope, I'm not gonna put my parents' information, because I don't need to, because I'm sort of dependent on my own self, financially at least. And so yeah, I filled it out. You have to wait a while for it. I think it said 3 to 5 days for it to process, but knowing how, I think I remember it takes a lot longer because everyone's applying for it, right? So then we'll find out if I qualify for grants or just loans, which I really hope it's grants, because that's the only way I'm going back to school. And my counselor's like, with your financial information, like, it really seems like you should be able to qualify for grants. And I'm like, please, oh please, oh please, please. I just want to go to school and not have to pay for it, because otherwise I will have no money. And even then, like, I wouldn't have money like left over from my day-to-day stuff to even pay for school. And I don't believe in loans. I think they're a trap, unless they're small loans that you can pay off quickly. I still don't like them. So I'm going to try everything in my power to avoid loans, so I hope I can. I hope they grant me the opportunity to be able to avoid loans. Anyways, I just want to update you guys about that. And I'm still on the career path. Like, I'm still like talking to her. We're going to have another meeting, talking and kind of narrowing it out. That's right. I want to tell you more about my results. I'll do that a little bit later because Mike and I are about to run up the store to grab some stuff. But I can kind of go over some of my results, at least the ones that stuck out to me, because it's really long. Okay, guys, this angle's a little weird, sorry. I was gonna pull up my little profile thing, kind of go over the points that, like, stood out the most to me, I guess. First and foremost, my supposed, they call it your career theme. Well, essentially it's like a code. So my code is air. And that's because the top 3 themes that I kind of was in the ballpark for would be artistic and investigative and realistic. So that's interesting. The other 3 are social, conventional, and enterprising. And I got really low scores in those. Kind of makes sense to me, especially enterprising, because that's like politics, leadership, entrepreneurship. Not for me. Okay, so yes, artistic. Obviously, that's like, you know, arts, music, performing arts, and then investigative would be like science and medicine, and like research, which is interesting. They also have mathematics in there, but I know that's not what got me there, because I hate math. No offense, math. But yeah, so it's mainly the science side that I'm interested in, and the research side. And then the realistic category is like machines, computer networks, athletics, which is strange, and then working outdoors. And I'm pretty sure the working outdoors part is the only reason that I got realistic. And I have really high ratings in working outdoors. Yeah, my top interest areas are performing arts, nature and agriculture, science, visual arts and design, and then social sciences. And my top 10 strong occupations, now these are just like kind of like suggestive, like what worked with my scores from the tests most. The first one's musician, then artist, photographer, speech pathologist, which is interesting, translator, flight attendant, broadcast journalist, forester, librarian, and horticulturist. So that's all very interesting to me. The speech pathologist thing was something that the counselor was kind of talking to me more about. You're basically like a doctor that does speech therapy with kids or people recovering from like medical issues like strokes and stuff, which I think is a lovely, beautiful career, but I'm not sure if that's kind of where like I want to go, but we'll keep it in my mind a little bit. The ones I'm really interested in, musician I'm always interested in. When they say artist though, it's not really, they didn't really specify as performing arts, but I'm sure that kind of falls in the category. Librarian has always been interesting to me because I love researching stuff. Like I'm like a pure Ravenclaw in that sense. Like I just love researching things. And so like I've always thought it'd be so cool to work at a library. But you really have to get a special type of education to work at a library because of the system they use to organize things. But anyways, the other one that I found very interesting was a forester. It's kind of the one I'm sort of revolving around right now. But basically, manage public and private forested lands for economic, recreational, and conservation purposes. It could be like forests. I think it also could include animals, wildlife habitat. Big deal for me. This is pretty cool. So here's just like this is a very easy version of how, like there's an option where you can say give me the easy layout of it, and it pretty much categorizes everything. It will tell you how much you make annually. In some cases how much you make hourly. But so for a forester, who takes care of forests, and I'm wondering if there's an animal specific job in there, because that's something I'm more interested in, is wildlife. But they make about $63,980 a year, which is pretty good. And then they tell you what education you need, and it's very, very great. Like it's super helpful. This thing's called ONET Online, I think, and it has like, it's just like a database of like jobs, and it has a much more detailed version of it. All right, let's go to the next one. Well, they actually like, they compare you to like people like who you'd have in like things you'd have in common with people, and how much you'd have in common with people who also took a test and got similar results. So like it tells you a percentage of how much you'd have in common, and that's kind of an interesting thing, because basically if that's your work environment, you'll know, or you'll have a general idea if that's, you know, you'll have people there that you can connect with well. I don't want to get into like the artistic and musician stuff, because that's sort of straightforward. Like you hear that, you're like, oh, that's right. Flight attendant was interesting though. I was like, I don't exactly know how I got flight attendant. But like, I mean, like, I honestly find that would be really cool, but it'd be a hard job to like, because you pretty much, most of the time you're like on call, right? Like, and you're traveling to all these other places, and you have to be ready to act if something goes wrong. Don't like that very much. And there was other like typical majors that they kind of listed that fall into my categories. For the artistic part, it's like art history. These, I highlighted the ones that sound the most interesting to me. Art history, broadcasting, cinematography, dance, theater arts, obviously. Even photography sounds interesting to me, but I'm not sure if that's something I would be passionate about. The next thing in investigative, like the typical college majors are like anthropology, astronomy, psychology, veterinarian science, which is another thing I'm like, ooh, animals. I really want to work with animals. That's what I'm thinking. There's it's a bigger list, but I'm just going over the ones that I really like. Then for realistic, the typical majors are animal science, yes, earth science, fish and wildlife management, which I think would be cool, forestry, horticulture. Those are the main ones that I like from there. And then they break it down even more. They say performing arts was one of my highest, right? So, and then they'll give you different like job settings and just all these examples. But it's really quite cool to kind of have this big thing. And then there's that link to that ONET place that really, really like helps you kind of pin down what they're looking for. And you can go onto that same website and search specific things. But yeah, so the big thing I'm looking at obviously is arts is always there. Performing arts is always a thing. And then like I'm really thinking about trying to pursue like zoology because I love it. I love marine biology, and I remember really wanting to take zoology, so we might go that direction. I'll find out. Anyways, that is the career part of it. This is getting along again. It's okay, it's all information stuff too. They also have you take that personality test, and I am an ENFP, and that basically means E is for extroversion, N is for intuition, and that's people who prefer intuition tend to take information by seeing the big picture. They focus mainly on patterns and interrelationships and that they perceive. Feeling. People who prefer feeling typically base their decisions and conclusions on personal and social values with understanding and harmony of the primary goals, I guess. And then perceiving versus judging. I've always known I was a perceiver, not a judger. People who prefer perceiving typically look for more information before coming to conclusions and take a spontaneous, flexible approach to the world. That sounds about right. And then they just kind of show you like your chart of how high in like extroversion, feeling. I'm really high on the feeling chart, like for sure. I am the most empathetic person to the point where it like could be almost harmful because I can feel what everyone feels almost all the time. Anyways, so that's what we got so far. I will be having another meeting with my counselor so we can actually go and limit and narrow out exactly what I want to focus on. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it got a little long because I really wanted to share this. I wanted to keep record of this on my vlog, so thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you want to follow me on my career path journey. I am 29 years old and I'm finally able to hopefully pursue a good, fulfilling career, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye!